The reason we developed the Performance Center was actually, I would almost say, a direct request from our tour players. When you're on the range, the shots doesn't count as much, and you can sometimes get into this routine of just banging balls out there. But you really need to get the most out of your practice. I mean, what you're trying to do as a tour player is to play great in tournaments, and that is under pressure. So developing that pressure, taking as much of that to the range, will prepare you when you have the same situation on the real golf course. That's what we are trying to do with the Performance Center. A few years ago, there was some great work done by Marr, who analyzed all the data on the PGA Tour and came up with this concept called strokes gained. It's maybe the simplest version is to think about it if you're playing on a tournament, that it's on that single shot, did you actually perform better than the field or did you do worse? If you hit a great shot, maybe you gained 0.1 shot over the field by hitting that simple shot. And you can call it maybe the more modern way, a more analytical way of analyzing your game and finding your strengths and weaknesses. You can see if you really are improving in the areas that you should, and if you are maybe losing then on some areas that you didn't anticipate it.
Slightly before a tournament day, the players receive a pin sheet showing the pin locations. So when you are on the range before you go out and play, you can have focus on those difficult distances or those difficult pin locations that you're going to be facing later in the day. If we have a difficult pin location, then you can't just aim for the pin, you have to move your aim point. And moving this aim point really depends on your skill level. So that's what we wanted to reflect in the application, so that when you practice, you actually get help answering that question that you have when you're out on the course. Where should I aim? How should I play this specific hole? Then you can go and see your results in the summary. The summary is nice because it's breaking everything down into strokes gained. So you can see exactly how you performed. Where did you lose shots and where did you win shots? And you can do that for any given test lineup or any given test element that you play.
One of the great difficulties in golf coaching is taking what you do in a driving range to the golf course. Because we've got nice flat mat or a flat piece of grass, and then when you get to the golf course you've got one opportunity. The lie changes all the time, the distance changes all the time, the club changes all the time. You're dealing with an infinite amount of variables, and that's very unlike what you do in the range, where it's just another 160 meter 7-iron. It's not representative of playing golf. And I think Trackman recognized that quite early, and they needed some kind of process to be able to bridge the gap between range and golf course, and that's how I use it. It's great for training players from a strategic perspective, getting them to understand where to aim for certain shots to certain flags. It's great for getting players to genuinely know how far they hit it. How far they hit it if they hit a little draw versus a little fade. So bridging that gap between range and golf course, just in golf coaching in general, I think is one of the bits we miss. And the Performance Center basically helps me do that. My experience tells me what to change, but the numbers told me why it needed changing. I go into the club data, so I want to know what's the relationship between the face and the path doing. So then I could step in and slightly adjust his start position, which orientated the face a little less to the left. He stands up and continues to make the same golf swing, and the golf ball does something a little bit different. Has it worked, has it not worked? And also I think the ability to help golfers understand how the club needs to talk to the ball on the ground. So anything that offers me that kind of binary feedback I really like. The reason that Trackman has become such a big part of my working practice is that I loved the quality of the education and the support they gave, as well as the product itself. So to backtrack, knowing what the club is doing to the golf ball helps the coach, or should make the coach, make better educated decisions. If you can illustrate to the player that the advice you have given them has changed the data to something better, then that, to me, is the perfect circle. That's the best way to use the data. Tracking the full ball flight is important because that's ultimately what helps the golfer get better. That's the measure of the golfer's success, and subsequently it's a measure of your success as a coach.